Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. Karen Greenwich is in your news again. She was hoping to get a house through the UDC, the Urban Development Commission, UDC, and it didn't pan out. It fell through. And in the meanwhile, she has 3 kids, and one of her kids, the daughter, had 4 more kids, and they're saying that the kids are not doing well in school. I've told you before that if you are not feeding your children well, they cannot take in information, they cannot learn. You cannot do well with lessons and learning and retaining knowledge if you're not being well nourished. Okay, that's something that is known. And to see her mom struggle in a one room home and it's falling apart, then to have 4 other kids on top of that, it means that the DNA has not progressed, it has not evolved. You're not looking at your circumstances and saying to yourself, it's rough here, it's a one room, it's just one room, and it's just not going to be enough for me to be having these kids and bringing them in this one room that is falling apart, and rodents are coming in, and it's not clean. The cleanliness factor is not there. I don't have the wherewithal to feed myself, far less children. That DNA has not evolved to the point that it would say that. So in the meanwhile, what Karen has done, her daughter is doing, and if she doesn't speak to the others that are there, it's going to keep on continuing. It's going to be a never-ending story. Okay, now if you give to Karen, what you give to Karen is not going to benefit, because if she does not know for herself, if her children do not know for themselves, what you give to them, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. If you give to them, they're going to use it up, and then they're going to come back in the news and they're going to want more. And if you give to them again, they're going to come back in the news and they're going to want more. They're not going to really appreciate. The appreciation factor of what you do for them is not going to be realized, because they're not thinking about themselves. They're not putting themselves first. They're not unraveling their DNA to fix it, to be better people, to be better citizens, to be better human beings, to be better architects of their lives. They're not doing it for themselves. So you can't help them. You actually cannot help Karen. You may want to, and you would like to, and everyone wants to see people progressing. You want to fight their battles. You want them to win. We all want people to win, but they have got to be in the race. They have got to be in that race, and they have got to be there with you and handing off the baton, and they have got to be practicing and training. You cannot sit idly by and expect people to fight your battles. It does not work. You're throwing your money away. Karen Greenwich, you have to help yourself, and you have to speak to your kids, and now you have grandkids. You have to speak to them. Upgrade the DNA, upgrade their situations by not creating a situation again. Do not create that situation again. Okay, get them in the situation, in the position where they can actually, is counseling, I want to say, I don't know, that's money too, but they have to fully grasp the situation they're in. They actually have to grasp and pan out and look at themselves, like look down on themselves and see the situation they're in and say, I cannot keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then going into the newspaper and begging people for their money. I cannot keep doing it. I have got to pull myself out of this situation. I've got to do better. I have got to do different. It's all up to them. Karen, it's actually all up to you. It's all up to you. I can't help you. No one can. It's up to you. The ball is in your court. This is Sherry Veronica. Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. I talked about this weeks and weeks ago. There was a survey, and Franklin is saying that the survey on unions is spot on, but it's something that any blind person could have seen. Unions are aligned with political parties. We know that, and he is saying that's why union members are pulling away from the older unions. But his union, is his union old? Would he consider his union? He only had one person up to quite recent. He has more now. So I don't know if he's saying that's why people have joined his union, because they're thinking that the other unions are politically connected. But his is too, because he doesn't seem to like the B as in boy LP. He's always, and the people that he hang with are always against the Barbados Labour Party run by Mia Mottley, and they are currently in power. Okay, so his party could be affiliated to. He cannot wash himself of this survey. Okay, Caswell Franklin cannot wash himself of this survey. All of them seem to be aligned with some sort of party. So okay, let's go with the survey. Are we to think that Tony Moore, for instance, her party is aligned with the BLP, because Tony Moore is a minister of government, she's an MP, and she is with the Mia Mottley administration. Okay, so her union is going to fall in line and take orders from Mia, whatever Mia whispers in Tony's ears. So where do we go with this? Where you cannot wash yourself of it. You cannot wash yourself of what is seen on the ground level, what the people on the streets are saying and seeing. You cannot wash yourself of it, because if you see Franklin, anytime you see Franklin, he is with a whole bunch of people that don't like Mia Mottley or her administration. You know, a whole lot of ex-convicts are. He's rubbing shoulders with a segment of society that they're like the hotel up there in St. Philip. They spent a big part of their life up there, or their lives up there at Hotel St. Philip. So he cannot wash himself from this survey. He cannot wash himself from this survey. It is spot on. All of the unions are politically affiliated, and you're not served well when you're taking orders from one master on the next that is outside of the union itself. You're not being served well. If you want your concerns to be met and answered and really taken seriously, you need to watch who you employ to speak on your behalf. You have to watch who they hang with. You have to watch who they're photographed with. You have to watch what they do when they're not in with you. You have to watch them like hawks. You have to watch these people. They cannot be trusted. Not one. They cannot be trusted. And if they get you money on your contract and you think, oh well, he got me money on my contract, I'm making more money, I got this, I got an increase of blah blah blah, you could have probably gotten 10 times more had you had someone there that had your interest at heart. Whatever that particular person is getting for you and you're feeling good about it, you're shortchanging yourself. You are shortchanging yourself, because a lot of them are not working for you. They're not working for you. They're working to appease the employer and the political persons that employer is affiliated with. Okay, there's no washing yourself clean of this survey. This is Sherry Veronica. Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. If this bill passes, expect hefty penalties for breaches. Is this real? Are you serious? If this bill passes, there should not even be an if. There should not even be something you're talking about in 2024. That's why you who are alive now should look at history and see their revisions. Okay, everyone knows that part of your history is revised, and you know or you should know, that 1937 didn't happen the way they said it happened. If you're talking about if now, you know that Harriet Tubman, you should know that history of her really didn't happen the way they said it happened. And if it did happen, she was allowed, she was given a pass. You need to find out, how did she get that pass? Why was she allowed to do what she did and not be incarcerated for the rest of her natural life? How did it happen? It was revisionist type history. Okay, that history was revised, that history was inserted. I'm not saying that Harriet didn't exist, but I'm saying she could not have done what they said she did and gotten away with it. Not in this America, and at that time it ain't gonna happen. It didn't happen. But for some reason, it was important to have that in that pocket of history. It was important. I don't know if it's for black people or white people felt better that something like that. I don't know whose benefit it was for, but it was put into the history books. Okay, just like how 1937, I don't know whose benefit that was for when they talk about Bussa and Barbadians taken to the streets. It didn't happen, and you can tell it didn't happen because look what you're reading in your paper now. If bill passes, expect hefty penalties for breaches. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you serious? Because if 1937 did happen, this would not be in your paper. You would have been further along in your evolvement. Okay, you would be further along. Don't get caught up with the lies they insert in history. It's for whose ever benefit. You don't know. You don't know who wants it in there and why they allowed it in there. And you should know that even when they write history now, when they write the obits, you can hear the lies. You can hear the lies. You know what that person was. You know who that person is. Okay? And you will sit there and cry. You will sit there and do whatever you need. It's all a play. It's all a performance. Okay? And you insert things at will. So, if bill passes, expect hefty penalties for breaches. This should not be in your 2024 paper. It should not have been there. It cannot be there. You cannot be seeing this. It's not right. This is a mirage. That's what you should be saying when you see that. You should be saying, what is this? Are we back in the 17th century? What are they talking about? That is what you should be saying. But Cadell got up in Parliament and she gave her mouth a whole lot of liberty. And what are you saying? Oh, we have to be careful now. We can't speak. Our phones and our emails, they're seeing everything. And you guys are cowering. You guys are pulling back. Instead of you saying, hey, who the hell does she think she is? And who the hell does she think she's talking to? You're not saying that. You're not saying that. You're pulling back. 1937 in Barbados history didn't happen. It was a lie that was inserted. Okay? This is Sheriff Veronica. Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. There was a Zoom meeting this morning on the case of Anthony Nelson. He's known in Barbados as the Admiral. He works for CBC. The state of Florida is taking no action. Repeat, the state of Florida is taking no action in the matter of Anthony Nelson and Tiffany Bourne. The stay away or the no contact order. Remember, there was a no contact order. It has been lifted. They were allowed, Tiffany Bourne and Anthony Nelson were both allowed to leave America. They were allowed to leave Miami. They're not residents there. The Americans have no horse in this particular race, and they're not going to, this is my opinion, they're not going to clog up their docket with something that happened to people who were transient. They were passing through from Miami and they were on their way to Barbados. Let it happen. Whatever happens, it is moot in the courts in America. If it happens in Barbados, they can take it up there, but they're not going to clog their docket up, especially when Tiffany seemed as though she gave a statement initially, but then she pulled back and seemed as though she didn't really want to go through with it. That's considered like a hostile witness in terms of like testifying, and it's too much. They're not going to do it. Okay, Americans are not going to do it. So Anthony Nelson, his matter was called up today, February 5th, 2024, and the state of Florida stated no action. Simple words, no action in that matter, and the no contact order lifted. This is Sherry Veronica.
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.